Oh, la V2. Moi, j'avais l'ancien, c'était pas. L'ancien, c'était pas. C'est le document que j'ai appris sa partie. Et c'est ça qui me doit télécharger le même pour les enjeux du media monitoring dans l'écosystème du magasin de la communication. C'est même d'abord dans le document que tu as, bon, je fais seulement, tu ne dis pas ça. Non, il fallait mettre les enjeux sur le même slide. C'est comme ça, c'est vrai. Ça veut à la fin, tu ne mets pas votre antenne. Tu changes de version. Avant, mais sinon, avant question de réponse. Dans le webinaire, tu vas parler un peu de réponse. Hello, Mr. Philip. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. I okay.
So
I think
we we felt about 45% that subscribe, but unfortunately, we we still waiting. So
right. Okay, we have we have less than 2 3 minutes to go.
okay, just allow to be sure that other person going to join us so that we can
Right.
5 or 10 minutes. I don't know. What do you think? To be sure that everybody can be there because
Yeah, that's fine. Let's just give it of 5 minutes. Then also, can you allow me share my screen because they said it's disabled from your end.
of course. So let me try it. Okay, I think that's good. You can check it now and make sure. Good.
You
Hello.
know, yeah, you know, the media and monitoring industry, it's a very peculiar one, right? So the sum up in terms of audience, right? It's also going to be very peculiar, right? Because of the interest, also because of the interest, and also because of the career building part as well, right? It's very few number of us that are decided, to build interest and build a career and path in terms of media monitoring and evaluation, right? So most times, some people find themselves along the way, along the path, coincidentally. Some people find themselves in it accidentally, right? And so most times, interest in media monitoring, it's about our, our goal, it's about belief, and also about having trust in what we do in terms of the activity that's being carried out. Most times people said it's boring. And so for me, I think it's not a boring thing. It's all about the mindset, and also it's all about having a changing mindset, and also inclusion, and also growth, because the industry is not static, right? Right. The industry is not static. So please just let me know when we should start. So we're just having a an off on it conversations, right? So the
Okay.
industry, yeah, the industry, it's not really static. As much as the activity is just an individual mindset as well. The growth of the industry, it's the opportunity in the industry is still very wide, very, very wide. Yeah, very, very wide. Yeah, you know, I was having some couple of conversations with some of my colleague in the communication and PR sphere, and also some of the tech guys. And one of the key things we had, and I had to contribute in that conversation, was the fact that in Africa, let me even, yeah, I shouldn't go global. In Africa, the percentage or the pie that has been taken so far in terms of media monitoring, we've not even taken 10%. First time. To be very, very honest, we've not taken 10%. I'd
Wow.
say it's a gold mine that that a lot of people are not yet exposed to, in terms of as a service, in terms of its value, in terms of its benefit, and also in terms of the contribution it gives to an organization, a product, an individual, a service,
Okay.
right? So because of
Mr. Philippe? Mr. Philippe, are you there? Alors, bonsoir tout le monde. Bienvenue à ce premier webinaire sur les enjeux du média monitoring en Afrique. Pour cette première édition, nous avons sollicité M. Philippe Oudiakaz, qui est le lead project de PM. Hello? It's okay?
yeah, hello.
Okay, good. Let me see. Okay, very good. So I think that we got one issue. Can you come back a little bit? Because I would like to introduce in French, because you know our audience is mixed today. We have a French speaking and English speaking. That's the reason why most often I will use French to be sure that everybody is aligned the same objective or has the same level of information. So I think that it's about already let's say that can we go ahead from 10, so that to be sure that, you know, in Africa, we always consider some factors. So you were saying something very important. Maybe something happened. I don't know what's happened. Please, you was talking about how can I say the state of media monitoring practice in Africa.
Yeah,
Is it? Okay, please.
yeah. Okay. So like I said, we need to have yeah, if we need to have so like okay, so we need to have a bit of a lot of continuous in terms of education. And so what we've seen in this part of the world in the last 6 years, and so let me speak personally, in the last 9 years, in terms of media monitoring, we've seen that most people needs to be convinced in terms of what the value is for them. So because of that fact, we have noticed over the years that the only way the industry in Africa, I do not want to go global now, in Africa would expand in terms of acceptance, in terms of usage, in terms of value, understanding of value, there's key need for education. Because why you go to a brand, you go for a product, and or you go to an individual, and you say, I want to monitor you for a certain period of time. I want to tell you what the media is saying about your brand.
Okay.
I want to be the first to let you know what the newspaper is saying, what the blogs is saying. The man needs to understand what the value of that is to him.
Exactly. I think that
so the man needs to understand. I can hear you.
I want just to emphasize on what you come to say is that in this slide that we organize this webinar so to try first of all to understand how is the state of media monitoring in Nigeria, and the second thing why we decide to invite Mr. Philippe, because Mr. Philippe is a professional media monitoring professional more than 10 years. And it's not only a matter of years, but it's a matter of project. Because as I know, as from Cameroon, I know that P plus measurement services is not the leader. It's the most how can I say, outstanding company in Nigeria who is conducting many projects in media monitoring. So to this first edition, let's say that it's just the basics, the fundamental of media monitoring, if you want. That reason why today we're going to be we're going to emphasize on the, how do you call it, the main outcome of media monitoring in Africa, marketing and communication ecosystem. That is on why we try to invite you today. So, as you know, my English, I cannot speak English fluently as we are speaking now, but and our audience is mixed. There are many parts of people who are speaking French, so that is on why sometimes we use French to be sure that we are aligned. So I think that at the same time, I think that we're going to launch officially the webinar. Before launch it, let me say one word in French to be sure that we are all aligned. Alors, merci tout le monde d'être connecté à ce premier webinaire qui marque ainsi une nouvelle saison des échanges sur des problématiques que nous jugeons importantes pour l'écosystème du marketing et la communication au niveau de l'Afrique centrale. Pour ce faire, nous avons invité M. Philippe, qui est l'un des leaders qui travaille pour PM Measurement Services, qui est l'un des leaders au Nigeria et qui sont dans un environnement assez complexifié qui allie à la fois les médias traditionnels et les nouveaux médias, où les challenges aussi des marques sont également énormes. Alors, son expérience nous permettra effectivement de comprendre clairement dans une perspective déjà, je dirais, de l'Afrique centrale, serait que les environnements médias ne sont pas les mêmes, mais ça nous permettra déjà de comprendre l'état d'évolution de cette pratique, quelle est la place que les professionnels accordent au média monitoring au niveau de l'Afrique centrale. Alors, l'intervention sera structurée en deux parties. La première partie sera conduite par M. Philippe. Il va essayer de présenter le média monitoring en Afrique, les défis et les perspectives, avec une insistance sur les nouveaux médias. Et bien après, je reviendrai sur les fondamentaux et les enjeux du média monitoring dans une perspective du marketing et la communication. Alors, merci. Je vais immédiatement passer la parole à M. Philippe. Mr. Philippe, I think that the introduction is over. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you very Um, um, so my name is Philip Odiakose. I am the lead, also the chief inside officer of P Plus Measurement Services. P Plus Measurement Services is an independent media monitoring and intelligence agency where we monitor, measure, and evaluate the impact of the media on brand as well. Right. So I'm going to take us quickly through today. The media monitoring in Africa. We want to center in Africa. And so we're also going to be looking at the challenges and also solution, some of the solutions to those challenges as well. And we're also going to talk about how to execute a digital media monitoring as well, which my friend will take that in a more elaborate way as well. All right, so I believe we can see my screen, right, Mr. Rustam? You can see my screen.
Yes, of course, it's okay. It's okay, you can go ahead.
So media monitoring, it was first established in London in 1852 by a Polish news agent, Romy Kane. And so earlier, media monitoring didn't just start as a full-blown service or a full-blown service or activity. It started from the press clipping, the print media at the early, also in the 60s as well, when Ramike thought that there was need for actors, writers, and musicians for them to be able to see what the media was saying to them, saying about them at that point in time as well. So it was just like well, it was like a corner shop thing where actors and musicians run to that point to see what the newspaper is saying about them. Then there is some form of press clipping and the rest of them at some point. Then it grew over time. It grew over time, still in the 20th century, still in the 50s and the 60s, when they saw there was need for the broadcast side of it to come, then client demand was increasing. Just the way the brand and also service and the client's demand is still increasing. As of today, in Core 360 media monitoring, that's when then the web clipping agency guys then they had to find a way to monitor the web media, which today we all know as the online media and the digital media as well. And so that comes to the bed of the 360 media monitoring. So in Africa, actually seen the rise in terms of media monitoring. Like I had a conversation with Mr. Rustin much earlier in the presentation that African market is still a good mine in terms of media monitoring. And there's still a lot that we need to do in that area as well. But for Africa, great jobs have been going on in terms in South Africa and also Cameroon. The media intelligence guys in Cameroon, they've actually been doing some great stuff over there in the Ghana market and also Nigeria as well. So in terms of media monitoring in Africa, it has actually not gone full bloom. Need there's still need for acceptations as well. Like I discussed with some of my colleagues that we had a wide and extensive one when we discussed clearly that the medium monitoring evaluation industry, it's a good mine. I would say that free for everyone that had an interest or it's currently practicing, undergoing, or carrying out media monitoring internally or externally as an agency or as a client. There's a face discuss more about. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I would be taking us quickly through some of the key challenges. Like I rightly stated much earlier, there are challenges why media monitoring it's not getting the full-blown recognition in the African market, and so why we should what we should do, and we're going to identify the problems first, and also we also discuss some of the solutions that I believe at the end of this session, we would be able to take home some key learnings from what we should do in terms of that as well. So we would be looking at the challenges of media monitoring in Africa. Like I said earlier, there's key need for acceptance in terms of education as well. So we're going to be looking at standardizing practice. So one of the key challenges media monitoring in Africa it's having, and we're still having that problem. It's a problem of standardizing our practice, right? So over the years, they've been a bit of where we sit in the Marcom table, in the marketing and communication table. Where do we sit? What body do we belong to? What industry regulates our business? Is there a media monitoring industry in Africa? Is there a known media monitoring association in Africa? Is there a known media monitoring association in the individual country? So these are some of the key challenges that limits us in Africa in the area of media monitoring. So I believe in the needs to create bodies, association, trade bodies in the various countries, so that the business or the service that we provide or we do for our brands as an agency or as a client representative, we believe that it needs to run in the direction of standardizing our practice in the area of creating association. That's why we stated clearly South African has been taking a bit of the lead in that direction, thanks to the lights of the ONICO. They've been doing great in the South African market, not just in media monitoring. They've also seen in the area of creating an association that's South African as so the last time I spoke to a friend of mine that worked there, he actually gave me a full confidence on the level of growth. They've driven that, and also we also have practice. We also have trade bodies like AMEC. So AMEC is the trade body that regulates media measurement and evaluation in the world. And so they have actually been doing that. They've been doing a great stuff for a couple of years. So I think which P Plus also is a member of AMEC. Then also we also have FIBIB. So FIBIB is a French word. It's a French word which also stand for the in terms of video monitoring. Yeah, it has been existing from the era of press clipping. When the only thing being done in media monitoring in 1953, at that point when it was being created, was just press clipping, print media monitoring activities as well. So these are some of the core. Then we have the IAB, that's International Association for Broadcast Monitoring. And also in the Nigerian market, we've also tried to drive conversation, NAMA, Nigeria Association for Media Monitoring and Measurement um, uh, for medium monitoring association in it of the fact that or group is for me why you need to have regulate the business. So like you said, currently in the African um, market as well, because why it's that to be able to
Mr. Philip, are you there?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I think that there is one issue. So while waiting, when you share your screen, let me say it quickly in French. Alors, ce que M. Philippe venait de dire tout à l'heure, déjà sa présentation, comme je l'ai annoncé tout à l'heure, sera structurée essentiellement sur 2 points. Il est question de présenter les challenges et les défis que rencontre le média monitoring en Afrique de façon globale. Et après, effectivement, cet aspect, il va également faire une présentation sur le social media monitoring, vous expliquer clairement comment ils s'y prennent déjà pour pouvoir adresser les nouveaux médias. Et c'est dans ce sens, effectivement, qu'il parlait d'un ensemble d'associations au niveau AMEC, FIP, sur le plan mondial et sur le plan régional et par des pays. Il disait effectivement qu'au Nigeria, il y a une association déjà qui gère le média monitoring, qui sert de mettre sur pied les normes, qui essaie de mettre des normes et standardiser et mettre des standards pour pouvoir pratiquer le média monitoring. Il a également évoqué le cas de l'Afrique du Sud avec Onico, qui essaie de faire mettre qui est également un partenaire média intelligence, qui est également un cabinet spécialisé dans le média monitoring au niveau de l'Afrique, notamment basé en Afrique du Sud, dirigé par Westy. Il est également membre de la MEC, c'est-à-dire qui est l'Association mondiale des professionnels effectivement de la mesure, de la métrique des médias. Alors, je pense que M. Philippe est déjà, il est déjà prêt. I think that it's okay. Okay, it's okay. You have the floor. I want just to say one word in using French. Okay, you can go ahead, Mr. Philippe.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so well, one of it's challenge in terms of is the multi-language and multi-language countries challenge as well. You know, some and code data, and we want to also translate those data in multi-dialect countries as well. We will set that in terms of there's an inability to access some of those too, inability to access some of this information, and inability also to access my resource needs as well. And that's one of the key things that sets back in terms of the tasks that needs to be carried out in that as well. All right. So another challenge on of media monitoring in Africa, it's the issue of they've been and like this is not just the first this is not just for Africa. They want to spend heavily in terms of their adverts. They want to spend heavily in terms of their editorial and communication engagement, but they do not want to spend in terms of media monitoring. So
Mr. Philippe? Mr. Philippe? I don't know if
Video monitoring is taking the back seat. One of the reasons which I identify are to get
in that well, there is a network bandwidth issue. I don't know, but the there is a network issue. I don't know what can we do, but there is network issue. Can we try a different way?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, but there is maybe there is sound issue. I don't know exactly what's happening. Maybe it's a bad window or network. I don't know. Okay,
Hello,
but
can
now it's
you
okay.
hear me, Rustin?
Yes, yes, it's okay now. Just try to go fast to be sure that
Okay,
maybe yes,
okay,
so that there is okay. Thank you.
yeah. So yes, we can be able to save time. All right, thank you very much. Right. One of the key issue we also identified was the issue of budgeting, which most organizations want to spend very heavy in campaigns, but want to spend little media monitoring because why that some of the feedback is the fact that we said media monitoring it's expensive. It's expensive. It's not the case. I think it's the case for us professionals to be able to educate also enlighten the client on options and choices as well. Then, which is one key challenge of media monitoring is the area of information has been a setback in terms of their numbers because of the online media. So take, for example, India currently has over 50 registered print publications, right? And they currently have 250 registrations. So, and now this numbers, not just for Indian, it goes across various countries and various markets as well. The online media is involving, so that way it's giving room and so it's securing and increasing the cost in terms of station for and also frequency in terms of brand engagement. So monitoring across platforms, I mean, by because of the involving also the most organizations in Africa, they because of they do not understand the value, the benefits, and also what media monitoring. So they tend to tell you from our experience, we've seen in Nigeria market, they tend to tell you they don't need this or they do not have something of this.
Oh, décidément, on n'aura pas beaucoup de chance parce que j'ai l'impression que le son n'est pas très important. Enfin, le son n'est pas très audible chez M. Philippe. Est-ce que vous pourrez, est-ce ceux qui sont dans le creux, vous pouvez confirmer si vous écoutez bien M. Philippe ou pas? Parce que je ne l'écoute pas parfait, je ne l'écoute pas très bien. Je ne sais pas si à votre niveau vous l'écoutez parfaitement, mais j'aurais souhaité avoir votre feedback.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. we can hear you. We can hear you.
I really don't know what's wrong with our network for today. All right. So another issue that's also been identified is the issue of value. Like I rightly said, so there's need for continuous education, and the reason why we find out over time that clients do not, they tend to say they do not see the value. It's because we need to take media monitoring from just data to insight, right?
Okay.
Um, so media monitoring had suffered a bit of the setback, taking the back seat over years. We found out that the reason why media monitoring uh, agencies not conversation, it's because they see media monitoring as just a data people, right? And so for us, that is actually giving us a bit of setback in terms of how we're being perceived and in terms of the value which we bring to the forefront. So it's very important for us to bring in insight, not just modern, not just data. So that's why I really, I'm very, very much excited for the great work media intelligence they are doing in that space. And so why? It's because it's no longer media data anymore. It's no longer media monitoring anymore. In the last two Philip conference, one of the key conversations that was actually being discussed was the fact that media monitoring needs to be seen as a media intelligence rather than just media monitor or just data people. We need to be seen as an intelligent people. We need to be seen as an insight people as well. So it's very important for us to take the bulk of the work forward from just data. So I would be discussing some of the key solutions. So those solutions are not cast in stone, and there are a lot more of them. But these are just some of the key ones which we would be advising at this course of the presentation as well. Just like what I discussed with Mr. Rosten as the start of this presentation, there's need for awareness. There's an urgent need for awareness as well. The awareness be consistent. So every media monitoring, whether you are in the client side or whether you're in the agency side, one educator. It's very, very important because no one is going to believe what you do if they do not understand the importance, if they do not understand the value, if they do not understand the benefit. And the only way they can understand this benefit is through consistent education. You need to move from sell to sensitization. You need to move a bit from selling to education. You need to move a bit from study because trust me, if people are aware and they understand the value and benefit of media monitoring in Africa and what it is bringing to the brand and what is bringing to an individual, trust me, you don't need to sell before it sells itself. But the reason why there is a bit of push in the African market for acceptance why the acceptance level is still a bit low, it's because of the fact that there's too very level and also a below into educational to move the forward, to move the up, so people could be able to understand also industry. It's not a because white that needs to understand, you need to drill down in terms of the value it gives before you can be able to understand the direction which those numbers will also take us to. So like I said, like we always say at this end, brands and organization need to see media monitoring as the beginning and the end, not just coming at the end to ask for media intelligence to give you a report of a campaign you ran some couple of months ago. Yes, it's very important. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is possible. But for me, I believe that there should be a follow through in every communication, in every PR campaign, and in every advertising campaign as well. Media monitoring needs to be carried through from the beginning through to the end as well, not just coming to the end to ask for some sort of data which you expect it to come up magically as well, and also during the campaign as well, because the key value and benefit of that is that it helps you to identify when your brand will have an issue. It helps you to predict the issues that are likely to come to your brand, and it also helps you to solve and also identify those key influencers and opinions that your brand needs to engage. So there's a lot more value in media monitoring when we bring in the awareness level as well. Then another key solutions that is going to help Africa in terms of media monitoring and evaluation is the area of partnership. Yeah, partnership, it's already ongoing. Partnership affiliates, these are all currently ongoing in the global space. But when it comes down to Africa, Africa has seen very little of that. Why? It's because we are not taking those initiatives, we're not taking those steps, and we are not planning the future of the industry. Because why is that media monitoring industry in Africa is going to outlive every one of us that I need currently, but we need to ensure that we outlive a healthy industry for those that will come after. So the only way that can actually happen is for us to look at the bigger picture in terms of partnership, how we can be able to leverage within South Africa, within Cameroon, within Nigeria, within the Ghana market, within the East African market. And so so some of those things that is already ongoing is the area of in the area of penetrations and inclusion. Why it's that we in Nigeria, there's very little some of us can do in other African countries, but with the help of partnership, we can be able to service brands and organizations and individual in some of the African market within, and it's also growing. It's also growing network and also in our cooperation with the same organizations. Some of the partnership that's ongoing in industry is the partner, the public relations consultant. We are being also received partners at all, where we monitor the day-to-day activity of the institute, and also so this is also growing awareness. So when you partner with the communication or the PR body of your country, it gives a room. It gives you room and access to professionals in that space to help you educate them and also preach the value and the benefit of why every communication, PR, advertising campaign could not be carried out without having media monitoring from the start go and also at the end as well to give them an independent result as well. Also, Bruce partner with Agility for the PR solution, and also P Plus partner with Real Frog for the East African markets as well. So so it's very important for partnerships because a partnership has been seen as one of the key points that can expand and also help media monitoring in Africa in terms of our challenges which we've been having, and also in terms of the growth of the industry as well. Because why individual agencies, organizations in the various countries can't deal on that alone as well. Then another key area is human intelligence. Yeah, as much as the world, and another key solution, it's human intelligence. As much as the world is moving to AI, we cannot completely rule out the value of human intelligence. I think that's one of the key setbacks. That's also one of the reasons why clients are having issues engaging media monitoring, because why it's that they find out that they tend to engage media monitoring or subscribe for a certain solution. And they also find out that they're also doing some kind of the job for media monitoring internally as well. So media monitoring should not be 100% automated, because why is that? Media monitoring has embedded in evaluation. With evaluation, it's not automated. Evaluation, it's human thinking. It needs human to think. A human does SWOT analysis. Human living sentiment analysis for a machine 100% is unhealthy, because machine do not understand slangs. Machine do not understand context. Machine does not understand dialect. So that So our services, it also look at the value human intelligence is bringing to the table as well. Okay. Then also another area which we find that has been a challenge in the last couple of years is the area of automation. We're still discussing also automation, because brands are looking for customized reporting. Brands are looking for reports that can tell their story in terms of their communication journeys and activities as well. So because of this, they have their demands, they have their needs, they have their expectation. They also, and also these three items must also be in line of the objective. So if should you have a media monitoring system on the side, it's not going to solve any one of those problems as well. Why? Because you're going to keep locking brand for an annual contract, and they are still doing a lot of manual jobs internally. The brand is paying, or how much our heads of comms are spending on us internally. It's much about what the long-term value in this area as well. So it's very key and important for us to be able to keep our reporting flexible to accommodate these metrics for brands as well. So like I rightly said from the start, I would touch a bit on how to incorporate brand and product. So we just finished having a conversation on media monitoring in Africa, the challenges, and also the solution. In the wrap of that, we think we should be looking at in that entire industry. It's the area of education, in the area of so we need to look at partnership. We need to look at partnership. We need to look at the area of human intelligence. We also need to look at the area of education as well, continuously to give us that value. So we would be discussing quickly in a short one on how to organize. Sorry. Okay, we'll be looking at how to organize and execute the digital media monitoring for corporate brands as well. Okay, so the number one key thing to look out in executing a digital media monitoring for brands, either from the agency side, either from the client side, it's we need to understand what you want to monitor. So now there are 1001 monitoring tools out there, digital monitoring tool out there. The question is, before selecting any one of them, you need to ask yourself, what are you trying to achieve? Why do you need a digital media monitoring tool, right? And is this something Google Alerts can do for you? Is this something a small team can do for you internally before creating that investment? You need to understand the objective of the brand and all this. So before you understand, then you need to now look at the point of what you need to monitor as well. Then when you've gotten that point, then you need to set up your brand or campaign keywords. Keywords, yes, simply mean item you want to monitor. What is an individual? Is that an individual you want to monitor? Are you monitoring for a brand? Are you monitoring for a personality? So those are keywords that you need to set up as well. That way, it helps us to clearly state. It helps us to eradicate junks from our alert system as well. Then at this point, you choose your media monitoring tool. Like I said, there are a lot of media monitoring tool out there for you to use. It's all about what you're trying to monitor, what media you want to monitor, and also what's your campaign objective, because the various digital media monitoring tools, they all have their own individual and also separate metrics, and how their metrics is also being analyzed. So it's okay for you to try the demos. It's okay for you to also try the trial periods and all that, for you to be able to see what works. Some bit of cry from some of our from some clients, also for some of my friends, where they subscribe to some media monitoring tool and they end up not having value, because why it's that when you subscribe, you can ask for a refund. So it's very important for you to identify what you're trying to achieve before you select your tool. Then you set the period you want to monitor. Are you monitoring for 6 months, 1 year, for a 3 months, a month-to-month campaign? You set that as well. Then also, you also need to select the key metrics you want to analyze. Are you trying to check sentiment? Are you trying to check awareness? Are you trying to check, are you comparing your competitive analysis? Are you trying to check your traffic? Are you trying to check the bounce rate? So these are some of the key things you should state on why you need to opt in into a media monitoring tool and what you're looking out for in terms of your metrics. Then you refine your search, but there are sometimes you set up the keywords, and the keywords, it's not bringing out that which you are looking for. And someone is calling you from another end that, have you not seen this story? And you begin to wonder, but I have a media monitoring tool. How come I'm not seeing that? So it's because how your keywords are being set up. So at that point, you need to refine your search. It's okay for you to make such errors. So, but it's also fine for you to give room to be able to redefine and also reset your search parameters as well. Then also you monitor what matters. You need to also be targeted. You also need to be aware of what you're looking out for versus what you're trying to achieve and your objective as well. You need to ensure that those three align at the same time. Then your competitors are important. Whether you're running a campaign, whether you're running a month-to-month media monitoring, trying to check your brand's engagement and the rest of them, you need to keep a check of your competitors, because you're not playing in an isolation. Even government bodies have competitors. Government bodies, their competitors are antis, regulate, so some antis, NG are talking opinioids that are going against the government or talking down on the government at some point. It's very important for us to be able to identify our competitors as well. Then we also need to identify influencers. Influencers are the people that can either give our brand more audience, give our brand more health, or also kill our brand as well. So it's very important also for us to look at that key area in terms of influencers, identifying them, and also sharing that information with the client or with communication unit if we are working from the in-house. And also, it's also great to have a crisis plan in place. So what the digital monitoring help you do is it helps you to identify current trends and problems, and it also help you to give you a trend for future ones. What you need to do as an expert or a professional internally or from the agency side is to help your brand also state clearly what are those key negative hits that it's giving that the brand is getting currently, and how can the brand make use of such data or information in the future terms as well. So these are just few and more on carrying out and executing your digital campaign. Like I said, this is not cast on stone, and you can you're carrying out of your digital and executing your digital monitoring campaigns or activities. It goes also in line with your objective. So your objective will determine the tune of many. Your objective is creating awareness. If your objective is engaging your stakeholders, if your objective is launching a product, so this objective will help you and guide you in terms of setting up and also executing your campaign as well. Yeah, so these are some of our references, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Merci beaucoup, Philippe. Thank you. Thank you. I was glad to see a little word in French. Oh, that is very good because you use a little word in French to introduce the second part, means digital media monitoring. It was very good for us to understand the framework, to share with everybody what can be the 10 principles that can guide a company to decide or not to launch the digital media monitoring. So I think that maybe I will just go directly to my own presentation. So because I think that we are not exactly at just to see if we can okay, it's okay. Can you confirm that you have my screen? It's okay. Let's go back. Okay, that is very good. Let me share my screen with you. Mr. Philippe? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, that is very good. Let me share my screen. Let's go directly. I was saying that it was a great representation. It was very good to have your own perspective from Nigeria, from 10 here and many how do you call it, project in media monitoring. It was good to share as a dedicated company specialized on media monitoring. Your perspective is very important for we in French countries. You know, in English countries, we can easily say that media monitoring is growing out. It's little advanced than our country. So, as a matter of fact, let's see what how do you call it? As you come to say, the main thing now to do is first of all education, sensibilization, to help executive to understand exactly the need, so that to understand what can be the use of media monitoring. It's not just an option, but it's a necessary. It's a necessary. Before going directly to my presentation, I think that Aristide wants to share something with us. Aristide, you can go ahead. Aristide, are you there?
Hello?
We can hear you.
Yeah, Rosanna, I'm sorry. I think I raised my hand. It's an error. I'm sorry. I just wanted to attract Philip's attention on the network issue that we faced when he was doing his presentation. But definitely everything went well so far. So please go ahead. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So let me try now I will try to use the second language of this webinar is French to be sure that everybody going to get something. What I want to do maybe it's not going to be, maybe it's not really detailed as what Mr. Philippe comes to say, but I'm just to share my personal view in French country's perspective. And I would like to, our presentation will emphasize on the sensibilization, on the education. What is media monitoring? So I would like to come back later in the question in French to be sure that everybody is going to be to get exactly what is the main meaning. Okay, let me go directly. Donc, comme je venais de le dire tout à l'heure, nous avons suivi avec beaucoup d'intérêt la présentation de M. Philippe Ouliakos, qui est le responsable, le chef le chef de l'Inside Office de PM Measurement Services, une société spécialisée essentiellement dans le media monitoring 360 degrés, que ce soit le media monitoring, que ce soit l'éditorial monitoring, comme on le dit, c'est-à-dire la veille informationnelle, que ce soit effectivement la pige publicitaire, que ce soit la pige digitale, à du moins la veille digitale, tous les aspects liés au media monitoring, ils sont présents dans ce secteur d'activité depuis une dizaine d'années. Ils totalisent pratiquement les plus gros comptes du Nigeria aujourd'hui et ils éditent des rapports automatisés tous les mois par secteur d'activité, ce qui permet à l'industrie des relations publiques, de la communication et du marketing de façon globale d'avoir des données permanentes à la fois sur les dépenses médias, à la fois sur l'évolution de la perception, du moins de la performance média des marques qui évoluent dans cet environnement. Alors maintenant, pour permettre à ce que les gens puissent avoir une idée un tout petit peu, je ne dirais pas nuancée, mais une idée, je veux dire, un peu personnalisée de la question, je vais commencer déjà par revenir sur le média monitoring. C'est un peu ça. Bon, peut-être, avant d'y arriver, il est important que je dise un mot rapidement sur média intelligence. Qui est média intelligence? C'est pratiquement 14 à 15 ans d'expérience, principalement dans l'intelligence stratégique, dans le business research, dans l'intelligence média et dans l'accompagnement et les formations. Nous avons conduit environ plus de 200 projets actuellement dans la sous-région Afrique centrale. Notre activité est essentiellement basée sur 4 piliers que je venais de citer tout à l'heure, c'est-à-dire le business research avec les études qualitatives, quantitatives, le retail science, le retail audit aussi qui viennent s'ajouter depuis 2-3 ans. Nous avons l'intelligence stratégique qui peut être déclinée sous la forme concurrentielle, réglementaire, consommateur, technologique et même de la due diligence. Nous avons également l'intelligence média qui a plusieurs éléments, notamment au-delà de la veille éditoriale. Nous avons également les aspects liés au média monitoring, donc, tel que vous venez d'insister tout à l'heure, et même l'évaluation de la dépense publicitaire. Alors, ce que nous proposons de faire aujourd'hui, dans le cadre de cette présentation, est de présenter l'enjeu de la veille média sur l'écosystème de la communication et du marketing. Okay, what we're going to do today is just to, how do you call it, to present the outcome of media monitoring in terms of in the communication and marketing perspective. So, let's try to understand first of all what is the media monitoring. Alors, we have two perspectives. We have the first perspective is corporate perspective. We can try to understand media monitoring as the systemic listening of what is saying about your brand, your competitors, your industries, your activities, and other topics that may be helpful for your activities. So it will not be easy to use. Alors, pour dire concrètement que dans le monde aujourd'hui, la veille média, elle n'est plus simplement la veille traditionnelle qui consistait à feuilleter quelques types de presse, mais elle s'étend aux médias en ligne et à la diffusion de nouveaux médias. Vu maintenant sur une perspective essentiellement data, comme on le disait tout à l'heure, on peut comprendre que la veille média est un processus qui consiste à lire, regarder, écouter les contenus éditoriaux selon les différentes sources médiatiques de façon continue, puis identifier, se regarder et analyser le contenu qui contient des mots-clés, des sujets spécifiques. Alors, si on a compris la veille média sur ces deux formes en réalité, il en ressort clairement deux éléments importants qui sont dans la veille média. Ils analysent. Alors, le premier élément, il s'agit de quoi? Il s'agira premièrement de surveiller. Il s'agit d'une surveillance systématique de notre environnement. Premièrement, on surveille ce qui se dit sur nous. On surveille également ce que nous avons dit. Pour nous assurer effectivement que les cibles de notre communication ont effectivement été atteintes. Pourquoi? Parce qu'on part du principe selon lequel ce qui est pensé en interne, est externalisé à travers les médias. Alors, en amont, c'est-à-dire dans une perspective, si vous voulez, dans une démarche marketing, on a effectivement les actions qui interviennent en amont, des actions qui interviennent en aval. En amont, on a effectivement un ensemble de tâches préliminaires qui consistent effectivement à pouvoir concevoir un message et à le diffuser. Alors, en amont, le message est diffusé sur les supports médias. Et pour s'assurer effectivement que nous avons atteint le premier objectif, qui est celui de la diffusion du message, on doit mener d'abord une veille média pour s'assurer, quelle que soit la nature de la communication, qu'elle soit une communication institutionnelle, qu'elle soit une communication commerciale, on doit s'assurer effectivement que les messages conçus ont effectivement été diffusés. C'est à ce niveau qu'intervient le média monitoring. Et toujours dans la même perspective, on a également le deuxième point, qui, au-delà du fait qu'on s'assure que le message a été diffusé, on s'assure effectivement quel est le contenu qui a été diffusé. Et on s'assure également quelle est la forme à travers laquelle les messages ont été diffusés. Au-delà effectivement de la forme, on peut également s'intéresser aux différents médias, aux différentes analyses sur le plan quantitatif, sur le plan du nombre. Quels sont les médias qui ont couvert notre événement en fonction de ce que nous avons planifié? Quel est l'objectif atteint? Est-ce que l'objectif est atteint ou pas? Et on essaie d'organiser ces retombées sur cette forme de métrique pour premièrement déjà justifier l'action qui a été menée, qui était celle de la communication. Donc, alors, vu sur cette façon, on va bien se demander pourquoi est-ce que cette activité peut-il être importante aujourd'hui dans notre environnement? Plusieurs raisons expliquent cela. Il y a premièrement, il y a 4 phénomènes essentiels qui expliquent cela. Le premier phénomène est, dans les organisations aujourd'hui, les actionnaires sont plus exigeants envers les exécutifs. Donc, il faut faire beaucoup avec peu de moyens. Ça, c'est une première exigence. C'est une tendance mondiale. Et le Covid a accéléré cette tendance. Le deuxième phénomène, effectivement, c'est le changement dans les modèles managériaux. Le modèle de management par objectif aujourd'hui. La notion de responsabilité des dirigeants est de plus en plus mise en exergue au niveau des organisations. Alors, les audits rentrent déjà dans les budgets des relations publiques et des médias. Alors, les auditeurs demandent souvent aux responsables marketing médias, pourquoi avez-vous décidé d'investir dans telle autre chaîne que dans telle autre chaîne? Alors, vous devez avoir des arguments structurés et objectifs pour pouvoir démontrer pourquoi est-ce que le budget, comment est-ce que la répartition du budget est faite, sur quelle base. Et le deuxième élément, il faut effectivement garantir, démontrer à ces auditeurs que ce budget a effectivement été exécuté. Pour preuve, voici le rapport d'un auditeur indépendant qui confirme effectivement l'exécution des actions que nous avons planifiées dans ce média. Le troisième point, c'est la prévalence du data driving marketing aujourd'hui. Les organisations recherchent des communications plus rentables qui atteignent les parties prenantes. C'est-à-dire, on a bien envie de comprendre que, alors, voilà les objectifs que nous avons fixés au niveau des relations publiques. Mais il faut des données qui permettent de mesurer effectivement qu'il y a une évolution en termes de perception, ou du moins de la marque ou bien des messages de la marque auprès des parties prenantes. Pas simplement se baser sur le fait qu'on a organisé une conférence de presse, on a lancé 2-3 produits, mais il faut avoir des données support pour démontrer à l'exécutif que ce que nous avons prévu et le budget que nous avons mis en œuvre a effectivement permis d'atteindre ces objectifs. Le quatrième, mais pas le moindre, effectivement, est l'évolution technologique qui a permis une révolution dans les différents canaux médias et l'explosion des contenus sur les 10 dernières années. Alors, j'aime bien cette citation qui disait que, qui est celui du directeur de Google France, qui disait que sur les 10 dernières années, des années 2000, on a produit plus de contenu que l'humanité n'en a produit depuis l'âge de la pierre taillée. Vous pouvez imaginer, c'est-à-dire l'explosion des canaux médiatiques a permis la création tout azimut des contenus. Et cela devient un problème. Ça devient un problème, un important issue dans la mesure où les entreprises, les marques n'ont plus la possibilité de contrôler tout ce qui se dit sur eux ou encore sur leur industrie. Et cela a une conséquence unique, celle du fait qui est basée, celle qu'on peut considérer comme étant l'industrie de la communication de nos jours est actuellement dans une situation compliquée parce qu'elle a été structurée essentiellement sur les 50 années autour des canaux traditionnels, notamment dont le canal mère était la télévision. Aujourd'hui, tout est explosé, tous les paradigmes changent et les marques ont encore des difficultés à s'adapter. Parce que, s'adapter pourquoi? Parce que la façon de faire ne peut pas changer drastiquement. Maintenant, l'exigence suprême de cette nouvelle ère, de cette contrainte aujourd'hui est l'instantanéité et la dictature, effectivement, de la réactivité. Les marques n'ont plus le temps de préparer leur réaction. Ils doivent premièrement d'abord organiser une veille et deuxièmement réagir en sous peu de temps. Parce qu'avec la globalisation, le monde est devenu un petit village et une crise, elle est planétaire. Et peut-être un point que je n'ai pas peut-être marqué dans ce constat, qui confirme la nécessité de la veille média, c'est la valeur en réalité, le capital marque aujourd'hui, la valorisation des marques aujourd'hui dépend effectivement de la perception les parties prenantes, que ce soit les investisseurs, que ce soit effectivement les clients, que ce soit le personnel, que ce soit même les fournisseurs, la marque fait attention à la perception. Et pour ce faire, elle doit suivre régulièrement ce que c'est dit et pouvoir réajuster les messages conséquents pour pouvoir faire face à ces éléments-là. Maintenant, alors une fois que nous avons compris ces enjeux, il est important tout de même de revenir quand même sur les enjeux sur le plan opérationnel. Parce que la mesure des médias, dans un système normalisé, il est important premièrement pour l'entreprise qui communique, pour l'émetteur, de pouvoir évaluer l'efficacité des communications. Je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, au niveau des entreprises, des organisations, même les associations, ou même le public, par des canaux médiatiques. Ces raisons ont été expliquées plus haut, notamment la contrainte, l'exigence de l'exécutif et des actionnaires qui souhaitent désormais que l'on puisse appuyer l'exécution à travers des preuves chiffrées qui permettent effectivement de dire, voilà, l'objectif a été atteint. Ne serait-ce en amont, sur le plan de la création et de la diffusion de messages. Maintenant, changement de comportement, ça c'est une chose. La deuxième chose, c'est que l'efficacité ne peut être mesurée en termes de qualité et de placement de couverture médiatique et d'impact du message et le ton de couverture. Parce que entre l'émetteur et les récepteurs, il y a les médias. Maintenant, c'est les médias qui sont supposés façonner la façon dont les messages vont atterrir auprès de la cible, en fait. Et pour ce faire, au niveau des médias, il est important déjà de mesurer la résonance du message. Comment est-ce que les médias ont compris le message de la marque? Comment est-ce qu'ils ont répertorié, ils ont répercuté ce message auprès de la cible? Ça, c'est le deuxième point qui explique effectivement l'enjeu actuel de la veille média. Le troisième point, effectivement, le deuxième point, voilà, c'est les deux points qui justifient effectivement les enjeux de la veille média. Mais on peut également comprendre que analyser l'efficacité des messages en examinant en profondeur la profondeur des articles permet également à l'entreprise de comprendre quels sont les enjeux de son secteur d'activité, quelles sont les grandes tendances, de façon globale, qu'est-ce que le régulateur, qu'est-ce que mes concurrents, qu'est-ce que les consommateurs pensent effectivement des questions liées à mon secteur d'activité. Ça permet également de comprendre l'efficacité de la stratégie de communication et identifier les tendances. Pas seulement ma stratégie en tant que marque, mais la stratégie de mes concurrents. Pourquoi? Parce qu'en faisant une pige média, en faisant un média monitoring, je collecte un ensemble de données qui me permettent en temps réel de savoir clairement tel média, voilà la stratégie média mise en place par mon concurrent ou bien par mon vis-à-vis, ou encore de vérifier effectivement si la stratégie média en interne est efficace. Alors, quand on a cette mesure, quand on a cette donnée indépendante qui provient d'une source tierce, qui n'est pas celle interne, qui vient de l'extérieur, cela permet aux responsables de la communication de pouvoir mesurer effectivement l'efficacité au niveau de l'exécution de son message. Voilà. Et cette mesure, effectivement, aide à prendre les décisions intelligentes. Par exemple, on répond aux questions selon lesquelles que disent les médias à votre sujet. Parce que, comme j'ai précisé au début, la veille média a un enjeu double dans la mesure où elle permet à la marque, autant pour moi, de mesurer ce qu'elle a dit et permet également à la marque de suivre ce qu'on dit d'elle. Alors, ce double enjeu permet, sur le second point, de répondre à la question: que disent les médias à votre sujet? Quelle couverture médiatique est-elle positive ou négative? Votre porte-parole sont-ils cités? Quel est le classement en termes de part de voix? Quel est votre taux de popularité au niveau des médias, bien évidemment? Comment votre couverture médiatique se compare à celle de vos concurrents? Parce que si vous n'avez pas de veille média, si vous ne recueillez pas les données à la sortie, à la diffusion des médias, vous ne saurez jamais si vos concurrents font mieux ou pas, si vous avez mieux fait ou pas. Ça, c'est au niveau des enjeux. C'est les éléments que nous avons choisis pour mettre en avant les enjeux de la veille média. Alors, si nous sommes alignés au niveau des enjeux de la veille média, on va essayer de comprendre quel est le champ d'application de la veille média. On reste dans une perspective de marketing de la communication. Premièrement, le premier point, c'est la communication institutionnelle. Alors, la veille média est le premier outil qui permet d'évaluer l'efficacité d'un programme de relations publiques. Dans la mesure où premièrement, on doit s'assurer, pour éviter de redire ce que je venais de dire tout à l'heure, de s'assurer si effectivement tout ce qui a été pensé, tout ce qui a été prévu, toute la stratégie qui a été mise en œuvre en interne a été exécutée à la lettre par les médias. Est-ce que exécuté sur le plan quantitatif et sur le plan qualitatif, quelle est la façon dont les médias, du moins vos partenaires qui sont les médias, ont repris votre message? Ça, c'est un premier point. Et maintenant, cela pourrait facilement impacter le résultat qu'on pourrait avoir au niveau des parties prenantes si on regarde sur le plan de la communication institutionnelle. Maintenant, sur le plan de la communication publicitaire, comme il l'a dit tout à l'heure, Mr. Philippe, il est important. Elle intervient en amont, pendant et après. C'est-à-dire qu'avant une campagne, il est important d'avoir la veille média. Pourquoi? Parce que la stratégie média est basée effectivement sur les dépenses passées. Si on veut obtenir un objectif, si on veut partir de X à Y, on doit savoir l'année passée, avec 100 000 $ que nous avons mis de budget, nous avons finalement pu obtenir en termes de performance, telle performance. Si nous voulons avoir une augmentation de 15 ou 20% de performance, il est important également que nous essayons de revoir notre cagnotte en termes d'investissement immédiat. Voilà peut-être voilà l'enjeu. Et pour ce faire, une veille média importante au début. Premièrement, pour suivre effectivement la façon et la façon sur le plan quantitatif, en fait, du moins suivre les quantités. Est-ce que les quantités achetées sont diffusées? Est-ce que quelle est la façon dont les messages ont été exécutés également? Sur le plan marketing, l'enjeu est plus qu'énorme parce qu'à ce niveau, la veille média ouvre une porte très grande. Dans la mesure aujourd'hui, avec l'orientation data, il est important pour une marque de collecter les informations, les retours des consommateurs à travers la surveillance des réseaux sociaux, à travers les réactions des consommateurs. Si je prends l'exemple du Cameroun, Orange Cameroun aujourd'hui a pratiquement 2 millions d'abonnés sur Facebook. Si quelqu'un y installe un programme de veille média, il est convaincu que toutes les offres lancées par Orange Cameroun sont il peut avoir les réactions d'environ les 50% des abonnés Facebook au Cameroun, parce que nous sommes environ, on ne sommes pas loin de 5 millions. Alors, si une marque comme celle-là a environ 2 millions et la concurrence peut se concentrer, au lieu de venir faire une veille concurrentielle autre, ou du moins utiliser cet outil comme étant un élément pour pouvoir évaluer les offres du concurrent, la réceptibilité des offres, la réaction des différents messages de la marque. Ça permet à la marque de se réajuster en interne. Toujours sur le plan marketing, la veille média offre également une seconde perspective qui n'est pas au-delà de la veille concurrentielle, qui est celle de s'assurer effectivement du succès ou pas de ses propres produits lancés, de la résonance que ce produit fait auprès des consommateurs, des clients. Parce qu'en suivant les réactions des consommateurs ou encore en suivant la réaction de ces influenceurs choisis dans le cadre d'une campagne, les réactions, enfin, du moins l'évolution de la performance affichée par les influenceurs, la marque peut rapidement identifier les points de réajustement et réagir automatiquement. Les relations publiques, j'en ai dit assez. Pour les relations clients, effectivement, oui. Aujourd'hui, beaucoup de marques, d'ailleurs, s'appuient sur les données, sur la gestion des likes et des conversations souhaitées et des conversations non souhaitées pour corriger au quotidien ce qui ne marche pas au niveau des produits, des options, du moins de la qualité des produits. Veille concurrentielle, j'en ai expliqué. Recherche et développement, oui. Une veille technologique, on espionne les réactions des clients, on crée des conversations sur les options ou du moins sur les fonctionnalités des produits des concurrents pour comprendre le retour, ou du moins on peut créer des conversations avec les consommateurs sur des produits spécifiques pour avoir le retour et pouvoir réajuster en interne. Alors, les relations médias, c'est pareil, les relations presse, j'en ai dit tout à l'heure. Pourquoi les relations médias? Dans la mesure où c'est un outil extrêmement important aujourd'hui. Pourquoi? Parce que au niveau des relations médias, nous avons plusieurs challenges. Le premier challenge, effectivement, est le suivi. Déjà, il y a des changements au niveau du traitement de l'information par les médias. Il y a la dictature du numérique. Les sujets sensationnels qui viennent des médias sociaux amènent effectivement les rédactions à pouvoir adopter les postures, à traiter des sujets dont ils n'avaient pas la possibilité de le faire quelque temps auparavant. Pourquoi? Parce qu'ils avaient ils avaient une proximité entre la marque et le média. Mais aujourd'hui, la dictature vient effectivement des sujets qui sont traités sur des plateformes et qui obligent le média qui est en chasse permanente de nos audimat à pouvoir traiter ce type de sujet. Donc, au niveau de la relation média, la veille média s'impose dans la mesure où on doit surveiller effectivement tout ce qui se dit. Même si c'est nos amis qui sont au niveau qui sont les rédacteurs, ce sont les éditeurs de ces médias, cela nous impose effectivement de surveiller dans la mesure où la démocratisation de l'accès à l'outil Internet permet à n'importe qui aujourd'hui d'être à la fois émetteur, récepteur et même d'être connecteur d'informations. Au niveau de relations presse, la veille média permet d'éditer un ensemble d'outils qui sont très importants. On viendrait là tout à l'heure tout dessus. Alors, en termes de livrables des produits qui sont issus de la veille média, nous avons ce que l'on peut considérer comme étant, généralement, ce qu'on considère comme étant les revues de presse quotidiennes, qui peuvent concerner les sujets sur votre marque, sur votre entreprise, sur votre secteur d'activité. Nous avons les pressbooks, nous avons les stakeholders map, qui sont des produits issus effectivement de la veille média. Pourquoi? Parce que à force de surveiller un secteur d'activité, toutes les spécialistes, toutes les personnes qui rentrent dans les parties prenantes d'une organisation, ils prennent la parole. Et quand ils prennent la parole, la veille média essaie d'identifier ces personnes. Et quand ils identifient ces personnes, on essaye, sur une longue période, on essaye de pouvoir de créer une sorte de base de données qui met en exergue les différentes parties prenantes et la nature de leur discours. Nous avons également, la veille média permet effectivement d'évaluer la perception de la marque au niveau d'un canal spécifique, qu'il soit traditionnel ou bien ou le nouveau média. Ça permet de mesurer la couverture média. Donc, on sent un rapport quantitatif sur la couverture média. Ça permet d'avoir le share of voice, c'est-à-dire les prises de voix dans un secteur d'activité. Nous sommes dans le secteur des télécommunications. Le mois de novembre, il y a une prise de parole. Il y aura une prise de parole en décembre. Tout le monde prendra la parole au même moment. Mais à la fin, il faudrait qu'on sache qui a mieux parlé que qui, ou bien qui a occupé plus d'espace que qui, sur quel sujet, sur quel, si vous voulez, le revenu stream, quels sont les secteurs dans lesquels la marque a été plus présente. C'est des éléments qui permettront de mettre sur pied, de pouvoir ajuster la stratégie de l'année prochaine. Si vous n'avez pas ces éléments concrets, nous avons été tous dans un même marché, tout le monde prenait la parole, mais il faut savoir qui a parlé plus que qui à quel moment donné. Est-ce qu'il y a une adéquation entre le budget investi et le retour et les retombées médias? Ça également, c'est la veille média qui permet de pouvoir éditer un outil comme celui-là. Ça permet également d'évaluer, si vous voulez, la performance de nos pages sur les médias sociaux. Ça permet surtout de surveiller l'image, la perception de son directeur général. Entre autres, on a l'analyse des publications, on analyse sur la favorabilité, le partage des voix, l'analyse par démographie. Donc ça, c'est effectivement les médias numériques. Donc on a un ensemble d'outils que la veille média génère aujourd'hui. C'est la raison pour laquelle nous pensons effectivement que la veille média est devenue un outil incontournable aujourd'hui pour tous les professionnels du marketing et de la communication. Mais nous avons un peu comprendre comment cela peut être fait dans le secteur des télécommunications. Alors, comme M. Philippe l'a dit tout à l'heure, le schéma, il est traditionnel. Il y a une démarche, une stratégie, une approche, qui est celle d'abord de la définition des objectifs du programme de veille média à mettre sur pied, si c'est dans le secteur des télécommunications. Alors, dans le secteur des télécommunications, il y a plusieurs pans qui rentrent. Déjà, les télécommunications, c'est une industrie qui est essentiellement basée en majeure partie dans la communication. Donc, l'essentiel de leurs activités sont basées sur la communication. Et pour ce faire, la veille média va pouvoir segmenter en fonction des secteurs stratégiques de l'organisation pour identifier. Alors, est-ce que nous avons une communication de marque? Est-ce que nous avons une communication, en fait, du moins, quel est l'enjeu stratégique pour nous? Notre communication de marque, notre communication produit ou encore le revenu stream. On va peut-être faire une veille en fonction de, comment je dirais, de nos priorités en termes de revenus d'affaires. Ça, c'est des éléments qui sont la plupart du temps convoqués. Et le deuxième point, effectivement, c'est qu'une fois qu'on a défini maintenant la stratégie et les objectifs du programme de veille média à mettre sur pied, on peut, en le définissant, se baser essentiellement sur des points tels que je l'évoquais tout à l'heure. Il s'agit premièrement du type de communication. Est-ce que c'est une communication commerciale? Est-ce que c'est une communication institutionnelle? Est-ce que c'est du digital? Est-ce que c'est du digital institutionnel, produit? Donc, toutes ces sous-segmentations permettent maintenant de définir la stratégie et les objectifs. Et aussi, en réalité, de définir les territoires à couvrir et aussi d'identifier les différentes sources d'information. Quels sont les territoires à couvrir? Est-ce que nous allons faire la veille média à l'international, au niveau national, au niveau régional, au niveau local? Quelles sont les priorités par rapport à notre stratégie? C'est des éléments qui permettent de définir si nous sommes dans le secteur des télécommunications. Bon, une fois maintenant qu'on a défini ces éléments, on définit les indicateurs. Globalement, on a 25 ou 30 indicateurs au niveau des indicateurs liés à la veille média. Les indicateurs, premièrement, sont liés à, si vous voulez, à l'identité pays, On a 25 indicateurs, je pourrais partager avec vous, qui partent de l'identité pays, qui reviennent effectivement sur, qui tiennent compte du type d'article, du type de médias diffusés, de la date, de la périodicité, du type d'article, de l'emplacement de l'article, de la tonalité. Il y a également l'auteur, l'emplacement de l'article, l'illustration de l'article, la durée de l'article. Il y a environ 25 gros indicateurs qui sont découpés à des sous-indicateurs. Donc, pour faire un suivi d'une veille média dans un secteur, surtout un secteur comme la télécommunication, et ces indicateurs peuvent être encore subdivisés par les différents segments. Du genre où on arrive même à créer des dashboards et ou encore à créer des valeurs de pondération pour de certains médias. On identifie des médias proches gouvernementaux ou bien des médias nationaux, publics, à qui on peut donner des codes. Chaque fois qu'un article est publié dans un média, il a une note spécifique qui permet à la fin d'avoir une pondération, d'avoir une note globale par rapport à ce que j'appellerais la qualification de la réputation de l'organisation au niveau des retombées médias. Donc, la deuxième étape, comme je disais, c'est la définition des indicateurs pertinents, comme M. Philippe a dit tout à l'heure, par rapport à notre objectif. Il y a le troisième point, c'est l'identification des sources médiatiques et la collecte et l'analyse. À ce niveau intervient également le choix des outils. Comment ferons-nous pour accéder à ces contenus qui nous intéressent? Est-ce que nous allons prendre une telle partie? Nous allons sous-traiter par quelqu'un qui va nous collecter les données? Est-ce que c'est nous qui allons collecter? Est-ce qu'on va confier toute la partie du travail, c'est-à-dire collecter par une telle partie, analyser, nous envoyer les rapports définitifs? Est-ce que nous avons besoin qu'ils nous produisent effectivement ce que j'appellerais les revues de presse quotidiennes, sectorielles, politiques ou encore spécifiques à notre marque? Bon, tout ça, c'est des éléments qui sont définis au moment où l'organisation réalise un besoin de mettre sur pied un programme de veille média. Et le troisième point, c'est le rapport et les enseignements. Chaque fois que le rapport est dressé, il y a des enseignements et on réajuste encore la stratégie et les objectifs. Cela peut amener à l'élargissement de la couverture, cela peut amener à plusieurs éléments au moment. Donc, globalement, sur le secteur des télécommunications, c'est une activité qui est basée en grande partie au niveau de la communication. Cela impose effectivement aux professionnels aujourd'hui de pouvoir s'assurer effectivement des outils qui garantissent premièrement le suivi de leur stratégie mise en place. Ça, c'est un premier point. Le deuxième point, effectivement, c'est la surveillance des différentes sources médiatiques, y compris les médias sociaux, notamment les clients, notamment la concurrence, notamment le secteur d'activité de façon globale, et de pouvoir identifier les tendances qui drivent le secteur de façon globale. Alors, cela passe effectivement par la mise sur pied des tableaux de bord en fonction des objectifs de l'organisation. Moi, j'ai évoqué la communication brand, j'ai évoqué les communications produits, j'ai évoqué la communication d'influence sur laquelle on s'appuie sur les personnes extérieures, des influenceurs pour pouvoir pousser plus haut le message de la marque. Donc, tous ces éléments aujourd'hui obligent le responsable les exécutifs dans le marketing, la communication, les télécommunications, à pouvoir s'outiller de ces outils quotidiens qui les permettent le suivi et le contrôle, et le suivi déjà qui permet la planification et le suivi et le contrôle de l'ensemble des exécutions qu'ils ont sous la main, que ce soit au niveau de la piste publicitaire, que ce soit au niveau de la veille éditoriale, savoir qu'est-ce qui a été dit sur notre marque, sur notre directeur général, et ce qui permet au bout d'une période de dresser un ensemble de livrables. J'ai évoqué tout à l'heure le stakeholders map, le media map, le media map qui peut aller même à pouvoir ressortir même des journalistes qui sont spécialisés sur des questions de télécommunication, qui pourraient même ressortir, classer des médias en fonction de leur sensibilité, que ce soit la sensibilité politique, la sensibilité au niveau de la marque même, est-ce que ce média pose la marque ou pas. C'est des données objectifs que la veille média permet sur une longue période de pouvoir centraliser et d'utiliser pour pouvoir éclairer les décisions futures dans le secteur des télécommunications. Alors, je vais laisser la possibilité à tous les intervenants qu'on puisse revenir sur les points qui n'ont pas été évoqués peut-être durant ma présentation. C'est vrai que nous avons commencé avec un petit retard. Donc, je vous remercie de votre attention tout en espérant que nous allons approfondir cet échange à travers les questions-réponses. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. So we are now in the last part of our webinar of today. That means a question and So everybody, you have the floor. You have somebody would like us to emphasize on one point. You have the floor. Thank you, Mr. Philippe. Sorry, I use French, but I guess that you follow us from the beginning to the end, and be sure that what I was sharing was not too different. What you say was not too far from what I prepared for our audience. So, are you there, Mr. Philippe? Okay. So let's see somebody send the hand. Mr. Fonkwa, you have the floor. Thank you. First of all, to participating to this webinar.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So firstly, I'll start by thanking Mr. Nathaniel Rustang for this opportunity for us to learning more about media monitoring. And I would like to underline the fact that I am a student of Mr. Nathaniel Rustang, and I am very pleased to learn more about media monitoring, which is one of our subjects in school. So I would like to come back on what Mr. I think I've forgotten the name. Sorry about that.
Mr. Philippe Odiakos. Mr. Philippe.
Yes, Mr. Philippe. Yes, I would like to come back on what Mr. Philippe said lately. He talked about increasing awareness of media monitoring in Africa, and this media awareness should be sponsored or shepherded by media monitoring agencies. So how can we increase awareness on media monitoring? Because we have multinational companies like MTN, Orange, and the rest who actually don't really, from what I know, of course, don't really put in interest in media monitoring. So how can we increase the awareness on media monitoring in a more efficient way, of course? Thank you. That was the question.
Mr. Fonkwa, thank you for the question. Thank you for participating to the webinar. Mr. Philippe, are you there? Yes, Mr. Philippe is there, but let me try to bring waiting while Mr. Philippe is going to be connected. Mr. Philippe? Okay, let me go. So Mr. Philippe come to say that there's a lot of initiative from Nigeria, from Nigeria and in Africa globally, who in terms of who try to educate and sensibilize, I don't know how to use the right word. Okay, I will find the right word. Sorry for my English. So there is a lot of initiative from Nigeria and South Africa that are now on the way to see how they can increase awareness on media monitoring. The first initiative is what we are doing today, to discover people, to let people understand exactly what are the aim, what can be the key outcome, the key outcome of the media monitoring in our context in Africa from now. But the second thing now is that we cannot just stay and say that the media monitoring is good or relevant for the company. We need, first of all, to craft a model of data, to craft deliverable that can be accessed by those, that can be shared like in white paper, in terms of white paper, as PR measurement are doing now in Nigeria, because there are a lot of, if you go to their website, you may be glad to receive a lot of data or reports on telecommunication industries or brewery industries in Nigeria that highlights, that can give you the state of the share of voice between within the industries and between the players. So Mr. Philippe, I don't know what I want to ask him to. So that is, according to my own perspective, that's what Mr. Philippe come to say right now. I don't know if Mr. Philippe is available so that he can share, can give more detail on the question to you. Mr. Philippe, are you there? So let me try in French.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Fonkwa, Can you bring more detail on what Mr. Fonkwa come to us? We want to understand more. What are you doing now to increase the awareness of media monitoring in Africa?
Yeah, one of the key things we can do currently to increase the awareness, like I rightly said initially, it's education, partnership. So I think we are actually going to do some great stuff, Mr. Rustin, with media intelligence in terms of partnership and education. I don't know if the AMEC measurement month is being carried out in your region, but I think it's also one of the key areas that would also be of greater awareness. Like the AMEC measurement month, we are going to be hosting that in the Nigerian market by Friday, this Friday. We've been doing that in the Nigerian market, AMEC measurement month once every year, in partnership with AMEC for the last 6 years and 5 years. And so I think it's something we can partner with the Cameroon market in the next one to raise the awareness level. Yeah, I think this which you did right now, I think this is a great event, and I'm very happy that we could have conversation in cross marketing. I think this is great. I think we would be able to explore the Cameroon market, because the only way media monitoring can explore and also being aware in terms of acceptance in the African market, it's awareness. Awareness can either come through sensitization, organizing of events, putting out there analytics, facts, and also putting out there facts, analytics, reports, and also informing the industry where we operate about the value, consistently talking about the value through videos, through text content, through infographics. We keep talking about this because why? Like I said, the media monitoring industry in Africa, we've not taken 10%. We've not even done 10%, including South Africa. We've not done even 10% because it's a gold mine, and it's an industry that needs to be explored much more than what we're doing now. The media monitoring is holding the life of the advertising industry. It's holding the life of the communication and PR industry, because without media monitoring, the job that this sector do cannot be seen and cannot be quantified, because we are actually sitting in the place of where they think we are the end points, they come to pick data, but media monitoring should be seen as part of a key part of the communication mix. So with that, I employ us to continually organizing events as such as this. This is beautiful, Rosten. Thanks to great work yourself and your team at Media Intelligence in doing. That this is great. Similar thing as such to be run out on a quarterly basis. That's great. Like right here in Nigeria, we have an evaluate PR events that we do every quarterly, where we bring in communication professionals, PR professionals, media monitoring professionals. We bring them to a table, to a panel where each of them talk about the various experiences and in media monitoring, measurement, evaluation, and PR. So this way, people could have a cross knowledge and cross understanding about how media monitoring is being consumed, what the value is in the client side, in the agency side, in government, in NGOs, and this can only be done through us preaching that. So we need to preach about that more often, Rustin, and thanks a lot once again on this.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Philip. Thank you very much.
Right.
Mr. Wilfried, are you okay?
Yes, hello?
Yes, Mr. Wilfried, you have the floor.
Yes, I'm okay. I do have another question. It's not a question, a preoccupation.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, my question is, in evaluating a campaign, for example, or actually doing a survey for a launching of a campaign, we have some elements we take into consideration before launching or evaluating a campaign. Now, I think, from my point of view, that some organization or companies see media monitoring as part of, how can I say it, various means of evaluating a campaign or um, launching a survey before launching a campaign. So, how can we make them understand that media monitoring is not part of evaluating a campaign, or it can do more than evaluating a campaign by setting goals which can be beneficial to the company or organization? How can we let them understand how different a survey is from a media sorry monitoring, and how it is different from the evaluation of a campaign after it's been launched or when it's end? That was the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilfried. Mr. Philippe,
Yeah.
you have so okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. And so we get that a lot. When a client engaged you for media monitoring and they are expecting some sort of public research report back or awareness level in terms of that which you've done. So yeah, so how we are able to put a clarity on that for brand, it's at the start of engagement. There needs to be a clear understanding about what media monitoring, what the expectation for media monitoring is. Are we providing you just a media highlight of the campaign, or you are expecting a media evaluation in terms of the media, right? So now there's a media evaluation of a campaign. There's a public evaluation of a campaign. So the media evaluation of the campaign can be gotten from data being gathered from the media. A public awareness or evaluation of a campaign, it's being done by research, questionnaire, survey, and that's a separate entity in terms of request. So at the start of engagement, there needs to be a clear distinct of what we're trying to achieve or what our responsibility is as well. So that way, there is no conflict in terms of expectation, deliverable, and what you're also supposed to give as well. So I think it needs to be clear at the start of engagement what the expectation is and what you're trying to engage. Because most times clients have a lot of assumption, right? Because why? Like I said before, media monitoring is a very peculiar industry. And so we need to educate brands and clients, even those clients that thinks they know how media monitoring works. They really do not know. You can know it more than the professional, than the man that does it independently, right? So it's our role to educate them at the start of that campaign or at the point of engagement on what they intend to get on a daily basis and at the end of the campaign, right? So that there is no conflict of expectation. So we got a brief. Okay, so let me play a scenario for you, a case study for you. So we've been working for an online streaming company, and so we've been doing media monitoring and media evaluation intelligence for them. And now they came and say, oh, they have a client that want to do media audit. Give me a cost. All right. So for me, it's not about the cost. It's all about what the expectation is, right? So we had to put a word. We had to respond to ask, what kind of audits are you doing? Are you doing a media or public perception audit? Because he said, oh, I need a media audit, I need sentiments, and I need a media audit sentiments. You know, these are conflicting, right? So, the client has a lot in their head on how they think they want it. So it's our responsibility to put it straight for them by asking some certain questions and getting clear response before responding fully with a brief with cost. And we will have to find out at the end of the day, they wanted a public, not even media, but because they found out that we do media monitoring between, so they just, oh, we want a media audit. So they want to see how the public perceive them. They want to see the public sentiment on their brand. So that way we would be able to send them a public perception audit survey budget, right? So the brief needs to be clear from the beginning. I think that's more like it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Philippe. Mr. Wilfried, do you want something more?
Hello?
Yes, yes, Aristide?
Yeah, thank you very much. Philip, my name is Aristide Mabato. I'm the managing director for ACMA Media Group. So I'm very happy to be part of this conversation. On top of what you've all shared with us, I mean, you and Rostan, can we be more practical? I'll take you a case practice. For example, imagine a client who spends, let's say, like a million CFA for his, let's say, communication plans and deployment across all the media. Is there a leeway? For example, is there a percentage, or how can you assess the percentage of this budget that could be allocated for the monitoring?
Okay, that is the good question. I think that Mr. Philippe, who is deeply engaged on many, maybe can help. But before, Mr. Philippe, before bring a concept of the question, let's say you say that media monitoring is about 10% in Africa, budget is less than 10% in all Africa, including South Africa and all those countries in Africa. In terms of figure, can we? Is there any figure that we can use to understand the industry's media monitoring industry in Africa? Thank you. Mr. Philippe?
Okay. Oh, okay. So, so there's no standard fee, right? There's no standard fee in terms of media monitoring budgeting, right? So for us, we usually preach the word of 10% of your communication or advertising fee.
Exactly.
Right. But since, but since it's no, so we have of the opinion that if you can spend let's say 5 million for a PR campaign or for an advertising campaign, you should be able to spend 10% of that money for monitoring, right? And so,
okay, fine.
But since but since it doesn't apply generally to everyone, so we tend to tailor budgets across board. We tend to tailor budget across board based on the industry and also based on expectation. So if I'm to monitor TV, radio, print, online media, right? And A and B wants to see monitor the same TV, online, radio, online. So there's supposed to be an assumption that the A and B are supposed to have the same costing, but it doesn't work that way, because why? Much more than just monitoring, there are some key items that is being expected to be monitored. A might want to monitor 10 competitor, 5 competitor, 6 competitor. B might just want to monitor 1 competitor. right? So the work level and the cost level, it's always different. So so for us, we usually provide tailor-based costs, right? Tailor-based costs, and we try to see how we could work that across various industry. So we recently upgraded our website currently when we completed 6 years, and we upgraded our website to reflect a bit of costs active pricing into it across board in terms of industry. So we have been able to break it down a bit in terms of numbers of competitors to reflect what the cost would be. So there is no cast on stone costing. I will say that for free across Africa or across platforms. It just had to do with number one, what the brief it's all about and what the expectation is. So that's
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Philip, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for that, because the only reason I was asking this question specifically is because, you know, for big accounts, because most of the big accounts we are working with, we mostly prepare the year plan, let's say in December or early January of the current year. And basically for us not to be in situation where some aspects of the business, that's one reason why I was asking the question, like, for example, if you can preempt or secure a budget and maybe during in the course of the year, we do some adjustments, like say, okay, we went from this, let's say, allocation of percentage, but during the work, we find out that, you know, during the year, we find out there are new elements that needs to be coming in. And I think by that way, it's easier for us to do some, you know, some, let's say, adjustment instead of, you know, being surprised in the course of the year and say, hey, we didn't think about monitoring. Yeah, we need to do it. You see my point?
Yeah, sure. I get it. Like, I get that now. So right now, we're already getting people, communication and PR professionals reaching out to us for their budget in 2022. So, so we are providing them that budget and giving room for, should there be a slight change, 6 months, 3 months, because budget should have a bit of duration. So if I give you a budget, if I give you a budget now, that budget should be able to hold you for the next 3 to 6 months.
That's right. That's
so
true.
Should you not come, so should you not come within that time frame, there's likelihood, but it's not 100% sure, but there's likelihood that the budget, the cost I gave you 6 months, should be able to change as well, right? And so, but there's a time frame. We should be able to give you budget for now, for the next 3 to 4 months to plan. So that's also one of the key reasons why we tend to bring up pricing on our website, so that will help communication professionals, to help people plan in terms of their budgeting, so that should they want to come back in the cost, there should just be a bit of slight change from what they actually seen from the previous as well.
Okay, fine. Permit me to ask one last question, please. In terms of, let's say, resources, what when we talk of monitoring, in terms of resources, what is the portion that takes more, like which is more costly? Is it the human resource, or is it mostly, let's say, what it's all about, automatic based, automatic tools? Is it mostly software, or the trend is simply human resource?
Okay, yeah. So Russell, okay, let me answer this. So probably we can just add. So we had that conversation in the course of our training. So I think in terms of monitoring, from experience and still experience, we're still seeing, we would not really advise brands to go on 100% automation. As we speak right now, we have our clients that subscribe to automated listening but they still need us. Why do they need us? Because they need human that can double for human and also automation. So,
Okay.
so we just won a business from a tobacco companies some couple of years ago, and we were in that pitch within with some of the global automated guys. But the reason why we won that business was the fact that the organization was looking for a human media performance audit agency. They are not looking for automation because why it's that brands have their needs and peculiarity. So they need organization that can be able to tailor, customize their reports to their needs. But the 100% customization we have all over the place right now, it's a one size fits all. And most times your campaigns differs and your objective differs, and it can't accommodate every one of them as well. I think that was one of the key things myself and Rustin discussed during the course of the training, why there's a difference between monitoring tool and media intelligence agency. Yeah, there's a clear distinct because human intelligence agency tells you the insight and the value and the analysis from your performance, but an automated monitoring tool just gives you a cast on stone without having some bit of human element. And human things feel and also understand some certain languages that the machine do not. AI is great, sir. AI is great. Automation is great, but we just need to be careful on what we automate in media monitoring so that we don't automate the client jobs or activity and produce them a wrong feedback and outcome, which is not good for us in the long term as well.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Thanks. Keep the good work.
Well, we are out of the time, but let's take the last question of Mr. Stefan Bipa. We want to know what are the key metrics to assess or measure the benefit of media monitoring. That is the question of Stefan Bipa. What are the key metrics to assess or measure the benefit of media monitoring? So,
okay, well, the key metrics to measure the benefits of media monitoring.
Yes, access or yes, that's the question. But I think that maybe he wants to say a different thing. He would like to understand exactly what are the key metrics that are media monitoring. Because maybe I think that's the point. Okay, let's try.
Okay, so maybe there are two. Maybe one is asking for the benefits of media monitoring, and secondly, is also asking for probably metrics to use to evaluate probably a media monitoring data or a media campaign. So the first one, media monitoring benefit, it helps you to identify and to plan for futuristic crisis. It helps you, your brand also to identify key opinion leaders for your brand. It helps you to also identify speaking opportunities. Right. Exactly. It also helps you identify your CEO's reputation, brand spellings and name, because we find out on a daily basis how journalists of the media spell the client's name wrongly, spell the client's brand wrongly, wrong use of logo. Right. So those are one of the key things you get from media monitoring. And it also helps you to plan your campaign as well, identify what went wrong and what you need to do much better. So there's some of the key metrics to use in terms of evaluating your media campaign. Number one, you need to look at your SOV. And so for us, we believe right now that share of voice has become a vanity metrics, because SOV do not really tell you a real detail about your brand performance. It just tells you about numbers, right? No. So we always advise brand to drill into the competitive analysis to compare the brands and their competitors in terms of the activity. Compare your brands and its competitor in terms of probably corporate, CSR, in terms of fintech activities, in terms of product launch, right? In terms of CEO presence as well. There's very keen needs to bring in your CEO into the report, because the CEO needs to understand, the report needs to speak to your CEO, because most times times budget for media monitoring tends to be a struggle because the CEO doesn't even understand what that even means. So there's key need for your CEO reputation, media performance to come into the report, to compare him versus his competitive CEOs as well, spokesperson. Then sentiment analysis, it's one of the key metrics you also need to look as well. Then also output. Output is very important. As much as output doesn't tell you detailedly about insight and value, but it's also very important for numbers to reflect in your report as well. So that from the numbers, you can be able to drill in terms of quality of those numbers. So output is also included, then outcome is also great as well. So I think these are some of the key metrics you should look at. They are endless. You can have a lot of metrics, but these are some of the key ones that should be on your regular dashboard as well.
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Philippe. So we can just conclude what we can consider as a takeaway is that the media monitoring is a blue ocean that we need to explore. There is a lot of output or outcome that we can bring out of media monitoring. Thank you, everybody. Merci à tout le monde. We are already out of the time. Let's say maybe we're going to see you in the next session. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Merci à tout le monde et à très bientôt. Merci, Mr. Philippe. Merci, Aristide. Merci, tout le monde. Thank you, Mr. Philippe.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Austin. It was a great time with you. Hope we can do this more next time, right?
Thank you. Thank you.